Okay, first of all, sorry for taking so long.
I've been sick as a dog, so there was like no way. I was like, we could have recorded it, but we were like, hello, welcome to the Korra vlogs.
That would have been awesome. We totally should have done that. And you also did get a chance to see Thor 2, so we'll have like a something private on that coming up. But we're not talking about that. We are talking about Legend of Korra, the guide, and
where was this Korra all along?
Not only this Korra, but
everyone.
Like the Tenzin stuff has always been good, but is it me or did this one feel like, I don't know about you, but I got this feeling like the original Last Airbender show. Like just something about the pacing of it, something about the comedy, something about
close.
it was really balanced.
But keep in mind, you were like about the first season of Korra, and I really liked the first season.
Well, I mean, like
to me, it's reminding me more of the first season of Korra.
For me,
yeah, a little bit of
the first season is very dark. I think he always said it's very much sort of like this is the Dark Knight version of like
it's a political
fine.
City thriller.
Yeah, I mean, which is fine, but it is nice to also see sort of in this world they've done to have something that really sort of calls back to those roots. It felt like a warm episode. It felt like you got the family, they're reunited again, they're all on this mission. You still have this coming to grips with the daughter there, like she can see the spirits, and Tenzin coming to terms with the fact that he cannot guide her into the spirit world, something he's always wanted to do. So even though he's like Aang's favorite, apparently he still couldn't come through on this. It's just, there's a lot going on, and it's all very genuine, and it feels really, it's a good episode. And yes, Korra actually, of course she apologized. Yeah, big shock. Like, when they reunited, it's like, yeah, I didn't see this coming. But at the same time, it's very heartfelt, and it's very nice, and she's using her head. She's like, maybe we should use the youngest daughter. Maybe we should do that. I mean,
well, and there's a nice role reversal where Tenzin's the stubborn one who's like getting all pissy and...
No, that was my biggest fear, is that when they were doing the spiritual thing, she was going to be like, I'm not feeling it, gosh darn it. And I was like, I didn't want to do that, but yes, I like that it switched around, that he's the one that can't get in there. And that he's making up excuses.
I think there was some moment where it's just like, well, then so be it. We will go to the spirit world. And I was just like, finally!
Yeah. Okay, now here's
for a show called The Spirit World, I'm like, oh my god, there's been so little time dealing with the spirit world here.
Well, and here's the interesting thing I noticed with this episode, too. So many good, interesting things happen in this episode, and I was saying to myself, why couldn't they spread this out? You have the girl see,
my mind.
No, you see the girl sees the statue, and then only now do you see that she sees spirits. Yeah. Why could you have that throughout the series? Have this mystery building.
He's like, and when did you see this? And she's like, and I just like shouted out 1,000,000 episodes ago.
Yeah, like why couldn't they have this go throughout the series? We find out in this one that Tarlok 2.0 now is in cahoots with whatever the bad spirit was, the one from like eons ago.
Vatu.
Yeah, okay. How much of a bigger shock would this be if we started out earlier with the backstory of the Avatar and then only now saw it? But when it's just, an episode or 2 episodes later, it's like, oh, well...
I'm gonna say this. Christ only knows I'm gonna have fanboys knocking on my door with a gun pointed to my head, but the story itself overall is okay. I've had some issues with the story going, but the story itself, the actual groundwork, the pieces are okay. The actual storytelling has been sloppy. This has been sloppy storytelling until just a couple episodes. The episode with the original Avatar.
Yeah, they can take that stuff and spread it out. Here's another great idea. Why not tell both stories at the same time? The story of Korra going through this thing, and then also maybe she's getting flashes.
Because that would be awesome.
Yes. Like what they were doing with her remembering what happened with Aang, remember?
Yeah.
And why couldn't they do that, showing that story slowly progress over time? I'm with you. Now that I see what they're doing with it, it's like, it's not a bad story. The execution of it and the pacing and the telling is not well done.
I'm so torn because I'm so appreciative of this episode and the previous episode. They're both so good. But at the same time, as much as I'm like, oh, these are really good episodes and this is really good now, I'm just kind of like, it just drives how bad those first few episodes really were in trying to get their point across and telling a coherent story. Because I'm like, there was so it felt like it was so much filler and so meandering, and even if you're like, well, technically it wasn't filler because it's still...
You could pace it out
You
better.
could have paced it better and written it better and put it together in a more cohesive way, and it's just hammering in how sloppy it was, those first few episodes. I'm like, here, now they have this, like, this pinpoint focus. It's like, now they've got it.
Yeah, we got
We're
it.
going there,
we
but I
understand
don't
everything.
feel all the setup was necessary. I'm like, man, I feel like I could have gone through that setup and pretty much cut out 2 whole episodes.
Yeah, or
like,
at
in
the very
process.
least, like I said, at the very least, you could have spread out this good stuff with the spirits. Again, it's called spirits with the rest of the episode.
I mean, for a while it was the all Varric, Mako, Nuktuk story.
yeah,
Like,
film noir kind of stuff, which is fine, but it's like, it's called spirits. It's supposed to be about the spiritual world, and it's just so chopped up. And I think part of good storytelling is that you do sort of want it to be balanced out and you know, spread throughout the whole thing. So it's, I mean, when we finally get to the spirit stuff, it's great. Heck, even maybe some of the stuff with, you know, with the whole crime story and everything could have been good if it was paced out better.
And I don't know what the deal is. Like, I know, looking at a lot of the credits, it seems like the original creators did not have writing duties
Yeah, that's why.
for a number of the episodes. I think they had the previous episode with the original Avatar. I think that's where one
Which
of them
would
came
be
in,
like
both of them came
ungodly,
in.
like
Which would make a lot
yeah,
of
everyone
sense.
would be able to see that
Because
if
it
that's
was
the case.
a really good episode. But that's almost what it feels like. Like, it's like people who've been explained to what Korra and Avatar is about, trying to cough up a script, and I think this was a different writer for this. I don't think this was one of the original creators. I only glanced at the credits quickly before we turned the camera on, but if that's the case, this guy, whoever this was, actually got it.
Well, I
Like,
mean, we don't know for sure. It looks like maybe we saw in the credits. I mean, we shouldn't say if we don't absolutely
yeah, we
know,
should probably
but-
check again.
Yeah,
but
but
whoever was writing it, if this was one of the original creators or whatever, this time it's like they got it. Like, this feels right.
Yeah,
again.
whatever they did with this episode, they needed it before, and hopefully it'll keep going in the future. It looks like it's going to keep going, because, I mean, now they're entering the spirit world, and it's yes!
Now, that being said, can we address a little bit of dumb? Because there's still a little bit of dumb.
Please, we're critics, is what we love to do.
The fact that they're setting up a love triangle again between Korra and Asami, kill me now. I mean...
No, my favorite is when he's apparently... I hate frame stories, too. You know, it's
Oh
like
my
there's
God. What did you shout? What did you shout?
No, as soon as they hand it's like, yeah, he's been using you the whole time. I'm like, don't you believe it, Rose? Rose!
This is horseshit, Rose!
Oh, look what we got here, Lovejoy and Honest Steve. It's like, oh, God. It's like,
Again, Lin Bei Fong, I don't know what stupid pill medication she's on, but it's like, cut back your dosage. It's like,
used to be so beautiful, man. She used to be so beautiful. And now it's like, yeah, she's so dumb.
I'm obviously in the pockets of these 2 crooked cops.
Yes, Starsky and Hutch.
Yeah, maybe it would be a little more believable if they didn't draw them as such obvious crooked cops, but they really look like something out of Springfield.
Yeah, or at the very least, like, they're dumb cops.
Take them away, toys.
What'd you say, Chief?
Do what your kid says.
Yeah, I mean, that stuff is just kind of...
And yeah, the whole idea behind a love triangle, it's like, you guys are dating again? And I'm like, I'm okay with that, but it's like, but you just left Korra a week ago. I'm like, yeah, and? I was like, she kicked my desk halfway across my workplace and was just being really obnoxious to me when I was just trying to help.
That's the thing that bothers me, is that, like, the bringing back the love triangle just reminds you again of how obnoxious Korra's been in the past episodes, and it's like, I'm just now getting used to sensible Korra.
From a writing perspective, I don't get that. Like, I'm hoping they're just not going to do anything with it. I hope it just dies almost instantly. And I'm at a point where I so do not want to deal with it that if he goes back to Korra, fine, he goes back to Korra, but just make it instantaneous. Like, if he has to shove Asami off a cliff, because I'm not sitting through 12 episodes or however many we're going to go through.
All right, okay, how about this? He decides to go with Asami, and Korra fucking understands. She's like, you know what? I understand.
I would kill if that's the case. I don't know if they're going to do that.
I doubt it, but it's like, wouldn't that be like she's really come to her own? It's like, wouldn't that be just this unbelievable progression
I'm just
of
like,
that character?
I'm like looking at this and I'm like, I'm almost convinced that whoever is doing this show this season did not watch season 1, because I'm like, we did this! We were there! This was resolved, and now you're doing it again?
You know, kind of
again?
It feels a little bit kind of like fan fiction, where it's like, well, we got the feel and we know what it's like, so we're just gonna kind of do it again. You know, so it's like, because it's not like it's totally foreign. It's like, no, and they've added a lot of cool stuff, but you're right, with the Korra character, it's just sort of like, well, we've seen this, and this worked the first time, and that's my understanding of it.
Now that's dumb, but what's not dumb is, yeah, Asami kind of falls for Varric, you know, Varric's trick or whatever, and it may be a little dumb that she doesn't believe Mako right away, because why would Mako make it up? But did you notice her reaction? Because that was not dumb. In Mako's reaction, she's like, are you okay? You stressed? Like,
yeah.
Is everything alright? Because I'm just kind of worried, because, like, yeah, this sounds kind of weird, like, you just saved my company, and if that were Korra, he would be in, like, some sort of waterbending tornado, like, kicked halfway across the planet for suggesting something like that.
Well, again, that's why I hate the slow track, it just reminds me of what a character...
And the funny thing is, like, his reaction is just so, like, what? I just was like, yeah, I'm not used to my girlfriend, you know, treating me with respect and not, like, trying to kick my ass or just going off on me.
I'm going to say right now, because we haven't seen, we know it's a week behind, and this will probably be put together with 2 videos, but we haven't seen the next episode yet. I'm just going to put in my bid now, or maybe not my bid, but I think Varric is sort of talking in a way, because he is so eccentric and so strange, I think it's totally possible that there may be playing that actually it's possible he's not behind it. That it sounds like he's getting obvious hits, but he is just so benign and eccentric and crazy.
I could go
that they're just trying to fool us. That's my guess.
My original guess was,
or maybe I just don't want him to be the bad guy.
My original guess was that he was crazy as a fox. That half his craziness is actually a put on. Yeah, I don't know. It's the only thing I will say to this show's advantage in that being so meandering and just kind of throwing everything out there early on, I am kind of like almost in a position of just like, I don't know exactly where they're going with this, because it's really just been like sort of a crapshoot of like what... It's like...
so much...
yeah, but... I don't know. I mean, even if Varric is the bad guy, I'm like, well, that's still kind of interesting. It's given the character something.
No, I know.
I'll tell you, when it keeps cutting back to Unalaq, though, I start to fall asleep. Like, he's just not that compelling to me. Vatu, Vatu, Niktu, or whatever, he's more, like, compelling as a bad guy character.
Well, at such a...
just stuck in his tree.
I mean, we got a little bit with him, like, you know, like, the son gets injured and, you know, it's like, it's not important, and it's like, okay, well, now the siblings are gonna see, they're obviously gonna turn and fight against him. But, and, yeah, like I said, it's just Starlog 2.0, and Locke is in his name!
I know, we were coming to this conclusion, like, okay, here's the pattern. If Locke is in your name, particularly at the end, you're bad.
Don't trust him. Just don't trust him.
No, I like the design, too, with Vatu stuck in the tree, but the tree is shaped in such a way that it looks like there's this giant eye in the tree.
Yeah, it can peek out.
Like a little Eye of Sauron thing going.
So
no, most things in this episode... Oh, and the Wuzzles. We've decided the spirits, like, it took us a while.
Yeah,
they're all Wuzzles.
We never made a connection.
We never made this connection. They're freaking Wuzzles. Like,
80s kids will get it. They'll know.
Yeah, 80s kids. If you grew up in the 80s like we did, you'll understand. But... Nickelodeon, why are you not marketing these things? I was like, Dragonfly Bunny, like... instant toy! I mean... Market these things, then reinvest in more Avatar. You don't need to play games with us anymore. You'll have enough money and be like, I don't care if it's successful or not. We made a shit ton of money on the Dragonfly Bunnies. Yeah.
Or possibly a platypus bunny. You're welcome.
Only saying.
But
6 nipples.
Yeah, he did design it, by the way. So like I said, here's what it looks like, and then he put that together. I'm like, wow, that is...
Oh, I remember I just turned you, like, when you gave me the description, that was like, fuck you. It's like,
well, it looks so good. So, okay, so the Dragonfly bunnies are probably more marketable, but we're just saying that there's a free one in there if you want to take advantage.
I did love it. It's like, they're my spirit friends, and I was kind of thinking, they're kind of gay. It's all of the, like... the pastels and the little flying.
Actually, I thought like Peter Dinklage from Narnia too, just like, do you see them now?
Yeah.
So, no, I really like this episode. I wish it was spread out over others, but it's still really solid and really good, and I can't wait to see the next one now.
We're back in action! Yeah!